Welcome to the 18th video in this series, making a 2D swarm shooter with C++ and Raylib. In this one, we're going to do something that's going to help us out actually when building the rest of the game, and that's put a minimap on the bottom right-hand side of the screen where we'll be able to see the enemies, the player, and later on also the pickups. Before we go ahead and implement the minimap, a quick word on how we're going to do it. The good news is it's pretty straightforward, as you're about to see. Nevertheless, I'd like to explain what we're going to do. So the minimap itself is going to be a little square or rectangle if your map was that shape, and it's going to live on the bottom right-hand side of the screen here. What we're going to do when the game starts is we're going to find out how much we need to scale the world down by to fit it effectively inside our minimap. So we'll have a scale factor, so maybe the scale factor is 0.05, something like that. Then each frame will draw on top of our HUD a rectangle with some transparent grey, also a greyish border here, and we'll iterate through all of our enemies. And each enemy that's alive, what we'll do is we'll grab its position from its transform, and then we'll scale that position down, and that'll give us then an offset from the origin of our minimap, and we can then place a red dot there representing that enemy. Then we'll do the same thing for the player's position as well with a white dot. And that really is all we need to do. Once we do that, you'll see that the dots just look alive and move around the screen. So let's drop back into the code and implement it. So back inside our code then, let's drop into the gameconfig.hpp. And then down the bottom here, I'm going to add just a minimap. And we'll add in a const expression for the minimap size, which is going to be 150 pixels. And then we're going to add in a bit of padding that's basically on the right-hand side and the bottom, so it's not right up against the edge of the screen, and that can be 10 pixels. And then for the minimap itself, what we'll do is we'll make a class for it. So let's right-click on the source, and we'll do new file and call that minimap.hpp. And then I'm going to go up here, right-click, a new file, and we'll do minimap.cpp. Then at the top here, we can include the header. So going to the header file then, at the top here, we'll add our pragma once, and then we can drop in the skeleton of the class. Then in the public, we're going to have a void init, and then we'll have a void draw. Then in the private, we're going to have a float x and a float y. And these are the positions of the top left-hand corner of the minimap, which we'll calculate on startup, which is when we know the actual size of the game. So let's drop into the implementation then. Inside here, we're going to need our game config as well. So I'll type game config. And then inside the initialization for our minimap, the x position is going to be our base width minus the size of our minimap minus that padding. Then likewise, the y is going to be the base height minus the minimap size minus the minimap padding. Then let's implement the draw function as well. So the first function is going to be the draw rectangle here, which is part of Raylib. So we'll include Raylib at the top here. So we have the x position, we have the y position, the width is the minimap size, the height is the minimap size, and then the color here is going to be a color alpha, and that's going to be black, and we'll give that, say, 0.6f of opacity. And I'll put this also onto multi-line, I think, so hopefully it's a little bit easier to see. There we go. So that should put a dark square on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. At the same time, what we can also draw is some outline around it as well. For this, we want draw rectangle lines, and here we have the x to y, the width, the height, and the color again as well. So I'm going to copy this, drop this in here, except for the color, we don't need a color alpha. What we can simply do is specify, let's say, gray here. Okay, so we're not displaying the enemies or the player or anything yet, but this should be enough to get us something on the screen. I'd like to make sure that's working before we add in the details. So let's go back to the game.hpp. At the top here, we can include then our minimap. And then down inside here, we can add ourselves a minimap. And then in the constructor of the game, in the game.cpp, once we've set up the map, what we can then do is initialize our minimap. And then finally, we can draw it. So let's go down into the drawing, all the way down the bottom here somewhere where we're drawing the HUD. After the HUD, we want this on top here. We can get hold of our minimap and invoke the draw. So running the application, we should see on the bottom right-hand side of the screen our minimap. There it is. Cool. So I'll press Q to close that down and close down the terminal. And now let's put the player on the screen, which is just going to be a white dot. To do that, the minimap needs to know about the player. So we'll forward declare the player. And then as a private variable, we can add a constant pointer to the player. Now we need to be able to set this up. So we'll do this inside the init function. And then going into the implementation file, we'll take in the reference to our player, and then we can set up the pointer. Now what we can do is use the position of the player to draw a dot on our minimap. But we can't use the direct position of the player, obviously, because that's in the map as a whole. What we need to do now is scale everything down. So let's go back to minimap.hpp. We can add ourselves a scale in the x and a scale in the y. And then in the initialization of our minimap, we can calculate those values. So the scale x is going to be the minimap size divided by the map width. And then the scale y is going to be the minimap size divided by the map height. And then what we'll do when we draw the player is we'll scale down the player's position, and then we can add it to the x and the y position of our minimap. So inside the draw then, once we've drawn the rectangle, let's add a vector2 pp, which we can call the player's position. So we'll do underscore player and get position, and we'll need the import for this, won't we? If we click here, okay, I'll go to the top, we need to include player. That should go away, okay. And then the player x, that's then going to be equal to our x position plus our player position dot x multiplied then by our scale x. And we need to cast this back as an integer. Then we can do the same thing here for a player Y. And then finally, we can draw a circle. That will be at player X, at player Y. We'll give it a radius of 2 and a color of white for the player. So we're nearly there. The only thing we need to do now is where we're initializing the minimap in the game.cpp, we need to give it now a reference to the player. If I scroll up to the top of here, see that we've got the red squiggles. So we get hold of our player and send that into here. Okay, so with a drum roll, we should be able to run this and now walk around and see a white dot moving around the map as well. So let's have a look. Yeah, we can see the player moving around. How cool is that? Excellent. Good. So I'll press Q to close that down and close this down. Now we can add in the enemies, and I'm sure you've gathered now this is pretty straightforward. We're going to do exactly the same process, except we'll take a reference to all of the enemy pool, and then we'll iterate through them and calculate where the dots are. To be able to do this, we need to be able to get the position of an enemy, and I don't think if we look on the header file, no, we don't actually have a get position on here. So I'm going to open up the player header, where we definitely do have one, and just to take this, go to the enemy.hpp, and I'll put this below the set player. Now in the player, we actually put this function in the implementation file, didn't we? But I'm going to do it the lazy way and put it in the header file here. So here we'll return the transform position. Then dropping into our minimap, we're going to do the same as what we've done with the player basically. So let's forward declare an enemy manager. Then we'll add ourselves a pointer into here. So we'll call this enemy manager and this can be enemies. Then we'll add this into the initialization as well. Go into the implementation, add this in here, and we can set up then our enemies. So down into the drawing here then, once we've drawn the player, or actually no, let's do the player afterwards. So the player's always on top of the other dots if necessary. We could iterate then through our enemies get pull. And we get some red lines here because we need to include the enemy manager, don't we? So I'll put this up here and then down to the bottom here. So we've got const auto enemy. We're not going to do any modifications or anything like that. If the enemy is not alive, then we're going to continue. Otherwise, I'm going to copy this line here and paste that here. So we've got the EP for the enemy position. That's going to be the enemy then get position. And then I'm also going to be naughty and copy these lines from here as well. And here we want the enemy position, and we'll call this enemy X and enemy Y and drop these then into this function. And then for the enemies, let's make this a red color. Then let's go back to the game.cpp here. And now in the initialization of the minimap, we can also send in then the reference to our enemies. I'd like to go back to the minimap.cpp and just check we have initialized here. Yes, we have. We've set these up. So let's press F5 to run the application, and we should see now some red dots representing where our enemies are, which is going to make the gameplay quite a bit easier actually, and a bit better also when we're testing things out. So here we have the game. Yeah, and we've got the red dots appearing on the screen. Good. And we can now see where we are anyway versus all of the enemies that are inside the game and see them all drifting towards us. Cool. So I press Q to close that down and close that down as well. Now I have to say that one thing I'm not particularly keen on here with the code is really this, because we're doing the same thing twice. So it might be worth considering make ourselves a little function to do this. So let's go back to the HPP file and let's add ourselves a function in the private section here that we can call drawDot. That'll take in then the world position and the color. Then go to the implementation here and above the draw, let's drop in the draw dot in here as well. So I'll remove that and then we can prefix this. And dropping down into here, I'm going to take these three lines here and just cut these from here and drop them into the draw dot. And we'll call this then PX and we can call this then PY. And this will be then the world position and the world position. And then we can have PX and PY and we want the color here. Okay, I think that's going to clean things up a little bit. So down inside the enemy here, we can invoke our draw dot. That can then be with the enemy get position and the color red. And then we can do the same thing for the player here as well. So we're going to have the player get position and the color is going to be white. And I think that cleans up this code a little bit. So let's press F5 to run this. And we should see exactly the same as what we saw before, hopefully. And we do. We've got enemies running around and also the player. So what I want to do is double check this with a new wave. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Okay, so a new wave has just been formed. I can see them all spawning and bursting in from around the map, which is really, really nice. Cool. That's going to make a lot for the gameplay and also make our testing a little bit easier as well. So I'll press Q to close that down and close down the terminal. And with that done, I think that's a good place to stop this particular video. We've made another good step. We now have a minimap on the screen, and later on we'll be adding pickups to it. In the next video, what we're going to do is add a little bit more logic to the waves, add some text to say that we're getting ready, and also add a delay between the spawning of the waves. So thanks very much for watching this one. Comments, questions welcome as always. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.